What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Crypto and Coffee. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. And without further ado, let's jump in here. We have a lot to talk about. So today we're going to discuss BitFinex, USDT, also known as Tether, and FUD. So before I get started, I want to tell you a little story. About 2 months ago, I was online, I was on YouTube, and I was kind of got down one of those little rabbit holes where you watch the next video. And I came across the creator of what is called Bulletproof Coffee. And this owner, founder, whatever you want to call him, contested that the coffee in the U.S. is the worst coffee in the world. If you get ground coffee in the U.S., it's grounded up with mold and other allergens. So if you have allergies, environmental allergies, you are essentially poisoning yourself every morning by drinking coffee. Well, I have environmental allergies, and I'm always looking for, a way to improve my performance and get more out of myself. So I said, okay, maybe I'll buy into this. I'll listen to what this guy is saying, essentially the FUD that he's saying about typical coffee, and I'll try his coffee. So found the coffee at Whole Foods. I tried it. It's good. Is it better than other coffee? I don't know. Is it more expensive? Yeah, it's more expensive. But essentially, how this relates to cryptocurrency is the emotional attachment that you're going to have with information that is released online and directly is related to you. So I personally have environmental allergies. This hit home with me. I said, okay, I have allergies. Maybe this is happening to me. I'll try this other type of coffee, right? So when you're holding Bitcoin or you're holding Ethereum and news comes out that's directly related to that currency or that coin or token, you are more emotional about it. It's the psychology behind it. When you hear bad news or FUD about something that you have invested in, you're more likely to take some sort of action or have some type of reaction to this news. So the reason I bring this up is because of what's going on right now with BitFinex and USDT. Now, pretty much everyone in crypto has exposure to Bitcoin. In fact, everyone does. Whether you like it or not, even if you don't hold Bitcoin, you have exposure to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin moves one way or the other, whatever you're holding is going to move in some type of relationship to it. So this recent FUD, if you haven't been following, has been related to the issuance of newly minted USDT. So let's talk about USDT in a little more detail. So USDT, also known as Tether, is a artificially pegged currency that helps exchanges provide liquidity and a safe haven for their customers. Why do they need this? Well, it's tough to get banking relationships in this industry. A lot of exchanges don't have it. So exchanges like Poloniex, BitFinex, all rely on Tether in order to provide that liquidity, that safe haven. So why is this a problem? Well, Tether is a company that's it's based in Taiwan, and they essentially have the power to mint new USDT. But these USDT are supposedly backed by actual US dollars, but we have no way to tell. So on their website, they provide a portal that you can look into, and it's supposedly their bank account with the amount of funds they have available, and that should match up with the issued USDT. But there's no way to really know, right? Now, why is this a problem? Well, BitFinex and USDT are run by the same people, or they're very, very closely related. So what's been brought to the public's attention over the last week or so is that every recent Bitcoin rally has come directly after the issuance of large numbers of USDT. I'll provide a link to an image below this video. Now, that's interesting because if they're issuing new USDT and not backing it with dollars, they're essentially just able to artificially inflate the price of Bitcoin with no risk, and then essentially just cash those back out and take the profit. So let's say, Bitcoin crashed down to $5,400 or $5,600 like a week or two ago. Well, let's issue new USDT. Let's prop that price back up. Let's get it to 7,000. We'll sell our USDT, or we'll sell our Bitcoin, give back the USDT, and then, hey, all of a sudden we got a profit of a few $1 million. Pretty easy. No one's the wiser. Well, it works until it doesn't, right? So let's say they start issuing new USDT, but the market doesn't recover. Well, all of a sudden you have a ton of USDT that's not actually backed. And we have no way to know if this is actually backed by anything tangible. So there's a famous Warren Buffett quote, and I may not get this right, but it's you never know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. And that may be the problem with USDT. We just don't know. USDT may be running a fractional reserve for their Tether-based tokens, so that if things start to crash and people are looking to redeem this USDT, there may not be dollars they're backing it. Interestingly enough, and I'm going to read this from the screen here, and this is from Tether's website. Once you have tethers, you can trade them, keep them, or use them to pay persons that will accept your tethers. However, tethers are not money and are not monetary instruments. They are also not stored value or currency. There is no contractual right or other right or legal claim against us to redeem or exchange your tethers for money. We do not guarantee any right of redemption or exchange of tethers by us for money. There is no guarantee against losses when you buy, trade, sell, or redeem tethers. What? So this pegged currency that is supposedly backed by US dollars does not actually give you the right to redeem US dollars. That's pretty crazy, especially since we don't have the ability or the transparency that we would like to make sure that they actually are running a full reserve instead of a fractional reserve. All right, let's try to put this all together here. So back in March, BitFinex lost their banking relationship with Wells Fargo. Now, for an exchange, it's very important to have that banking relationship in order to pay out your customers and to provide a safe haven for them when they want to reduce volatility. Now, the only other product out there on the market that's a reasonable peg to the dollar is USDT. So BitFinex and USDT entered into some type of partnership. Now, why is this significant? Well, over the course of the last year, every time we've seen a collapse in the price of Bitcoin, we've also seen a large issuance of USDT right around that time that actually has helped the price of Bitcoin recover, basically artificially inflating the price of Bitcoin. Now, if these USDT tethers are backed by US dollars, no big deal. But what if they're not? So USDT could be artificially inflating the price of Bitcoin, and there's nothing backing up the USDT. So that works as long as Bitcoin keeps going up, right? So there's no problem. They issue $20 million. The price of Bitcoin goes from 5,600 back to 8,000. They sell it and they keep the difference. Not a problem. But it becomes a massive problem when they issue $20 million, try to buy it up, and the price keeps going down. Well, then issue more Tether, try to keep propping it up. Well, that's how this fails, and it fails colossally when they issue new Tether and the price goes down. And that's the worry that people are having right now, that there's not a full reserve of USDT backing Tether. So that's the primary concern. Is the price of Bitcoin being artificially inflated? And through Bitcoin, the price of other cryptocurrencies. Now, there's obviously some strong correlations, but correlations don't necessarily mean causation. So those of you who have been around cryptocurrency long enough have seen FUD wreak havoc on cryptocurrency prices. We've seen numerous China scares. We've seen hacks, all of which have negatively impacted the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Over not even a long time horizon, they've all bounced back. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't consider and evaluate this news, but it also doesn't mean you should irrationally act on it. Now, let's go back to this bulletproof coffee. Because of my allergies, I decided to try this coffee. And because we're all invested in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, we're all concerned about this. But it doesn't mean you should liquidate your assets. It doesn't mean you should get the cash. It doesn't mean the world is ending right now. What it does mean is you should be cautious using USDT and BitFinex. So if you have funds on BitFinex, you should consider moving them. If you use USDT regularly, you should consider using Bitcoin or a fiat currency. If you're on an exchange that doesn't have fiat and only has USDT, consider Bitcoin or another stable currency, maybe Monero, Litecoin, or moving to another exchange. Ultimately, is this a major problem? It could be. Is it something that I'm worried about right now? Not really. I think there's enough FUD in the marketplace around this, and I've seen it too many times that there's a saying, buy the dip. So if there's a dip, I'll be a buyer. I don't think long term this is a major issue, but it is something that's on the radar and something you should be concerned about. And I would suggest maybe not using Tether for a month or two until this gets sorted out. But that's about it, guys. I hope this was helpful. It's not easy to hear this news, especially when you have large monetary interest in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But please be rational, unemotional, and objective about the situation. Make smart decisions. Don't panic. And I think we'll end up being fine. So anyway, that's it, guys. Have a good day. Happy Thanksgiving. See you soon.